Okay, I'm going to show you how to handle these frogs. Right here I've got brand new babies. Some are ready to go in cups so they can start getting fed. Some still got a little while to go. I'll show you, these are the ones that are hardest to get a hold of without hurting them because they're so tiny. They can't hurt you if they bite you. Most of them won't even try. So it's usually just a matter of trying to get them into your hand and gently keeping them from jumping and hurting themselves. And then I just place him in his cup. And also, just so you know, when I do a spawn, I give it a color-coded mark that sticks with it for as long as I have track of it. So these are the double red X's. I don't know the particular pairing right offhand, but I can look it up anytime I need to. And again, try to get them to hop into my hand and then into a cup. Pretty simple, but you have a couple other options. If you have a baby that's little and you're scared to hurt him, you can always use a cup to chase him into, and you don't even have to touch him. There's no any risk of hurting him, and it's easier than actually trying to pick them up because they're just so delicate and little. Their legs are thin, and if you can get them to cooperate. If you do have to pick them up, you got to be real gentle. They will squirm sometimes, so don't commit to taking them off the floor of the cage until you know you've got a grip on them, or that they're safely cupped in your hand. And that's how to handle little babies. Okay, we got a little bit bigger one. And I'll show you these guys again. Still not going to hurt you. You can always do the scare into your hand. They're a little faster, a little more jumpy. And then you just cup it, move it where you want, whatever. These guys are a little thicker, a little less delicate. Still delicate, but a little less delicate. So you can gently move them between your fingers. You know, the one thing you got to remember is always have your hands moist, dechlorinated water. Most of the time they'll calm down a little bit, but that goes for each frog is different, and some will never hold still. So simple as that. You know, the bigger frogs you actually can grip. These guys I like to just cup for the most part. He's going to try to bite me now. So one thing you don't want to do is have it open when you're moving from one cage to the next. Cup him so he can't get out, and put him in his other cage or bathing dish or whatever. And now we'll go on to another size. Okay, here we got a little bigger. This one we got at Petco just recently. Unfortunately, he does have one issue with his front arm over here. Kind of stiff arm. Not sure. Was hoping he'd be perfect. Still not sure what I'm going to do with it. He's flighty. Get near him, he takes off. It could be an injury to his front arm from that. I don't know. Best way with him is I keep him in high edge tubs, so less likely for him to fly out. Come from the back and the side and get him into my hand. Then I have to get a hold of him because he's flighty. Once I have a hold of him, I just keep gentle pressure and a hand close by to catch him if he does manage to kick out. The other way you can pick these up is if you get them calmed down or into an edge, gently to each side, very gently, like that. But you got to be careful because they will kick out sometimes. Best thing I can say is once you have a hold of them, firm grip, firm but gentle, and work with it, both hands. You don't want to have one hand not free to catch him if he goes flying. Most of the time, the only handling they get is from one container to the other and for feeding. So, and now we'll move up to a bigger frog that might try to bite me. Okay, now we got a bigger one. This one will try to bite me. I know for a fact. Does it all the time. Main thing is never come from the front, because even at this size, they'll hurt you a little bit. You got a couple options. I know most of you are going to be pulling yours out of cocoa fiber. Easiest way is if you just dig down under them and cup them out. If you have them in the bath though, you can't get under them as easily. So the main thing is getting them up to a wall where you can, or if they'll cooperate, you come in right here, and usually they'll puff up. He's not going to do it now, and you can pick him up. He's going to wiggle and struggle a little bit. This also comes in handy if you need to check out, you know, make sure they're not got an injury, or if you want to look for nuptials. Right here on the back of the head, and right here there's a little ridge you'll feel, and that way you can somewhat keep them somewhat still and check for nuptials. You can also sometimes see the teeth because he'll show it off. I'm actually thinking this might be a male. He's just showing a little patch. It's not even dark yet, but it may be. I was hoping it was a female, but that doesn't always go your way. That's the way I like to get a hold of them when I need to inspect them. And it makes it easy to control like this, because even though he's pushing, now the bigger ones, you don't want them to be able to kick off of you, but at this size you can still control them a little bit. The other thing is, sometimes when you come in to pick them up, if you come like this, the minute they feel you touch here, they'll spin. So you want to keep your fingertips away, you know, pointed out, because if you turn them in, they're more likely to actually get a hold of you. And this one did it 3 times when I put him in here. Of course, now he won't do it because he's on camera. But I'm sure one of the bigger ones will try. So let's move on to the next side. Okay, here we got Spinach. He's an adult male breeder. Not really big, but he's made lots of babies this year. Again, definitely not a frog you want to come from forward. Usually he'll take a shot at me. From the sides like this, he'll usually spin and stick his tongue to me at least. But usually when I do pick him up, I usually come in like this and get him right behind the arms. And try to leave his back legs dangling. Doesn't always work. 2 hands. Control his arms. You can see nuptial pads, for those of you who still need to know that. Right there. Inside of the thumb. Now he's going to complain. He's going to puff up. For the most part, you just want to try to keep him from getting those back legs on your fingers and kicking out, because that's when he's going to go flying across the room when you're not expecting it. Once he's in your hand, you could cup, so if he does kick forward, he can't go nowhere. He probably won't bite you, but all frogs are different, and one might, and he might get a hold of the skin under your finger. Right now he's getting mad, he's blown up like a balloon, so I guess we'll move on to the next one and I'll put him back in his cage. Okay, here we've got Mandarin, another breeder male. Made lots of babies this year. He also likes to try to bite me every once in a while, especially if I come from the sides usually. Of course, again, it's going to be camera shy. Show you. Pick him up. He's actually pretty calm for the most part. Nice nuptials. Now he's going to fight. You see, on the albinos, the nuptials can be just a pink spot. Right there. Usually once they're in your hand, if they're not mouth open trying to bite you, they're not usually going to try. So you know, if a finger gets right in front of his face, probably won't try to bite you. If you pick him up and his mouth is open, you definitely want to keep your fingers out of front of his face, because the minute he gets a chance, he's going to grab you. But mainly being nice and gentle and working with them. You know, if you have to restrain them, you have to restrain them. You know, get their front legs tucked in gently but firmly, and try to keep the back feet from getting a grip. That's why usually if you need to do something where you have to have them restrained, you're going to want 2 people doing it. One person to hold them, and the other person to do whatever needs to get taken care of. Now, you can do it by yourself, but it makes it a whole lot easier if you have another set of hands working. I think we'll get some ornates out and show you how they can react. Very similar, but sometimes more aggressive. We'll put him back and we'll go on to the next. Okay, here we have our young female ornate, growing her out, hopefully to breed her. Her name is Gorgo. She's aggressive little shit. Usually spins around all the way, tries to bite me any chance she gets, as you can see. Definitely one that I never come from the front, because even coming from the back ain't a guarantee. Once I do get her, definitely not get my finger in front of her mouth, because I think any chance she gets, she's going to go for it. Really, the only times to even handle them is taking them out to clean their cage, give them a bath, check nuptial pads or not nuptial pads. As you can see, none. Or if there's a medical emergency where you have to. For the most part, it's a look at and enjoy that beauty. But she's gonna be good now. She's just gonna sit here. They can jump. She could probably jump right into the cameras from here if she wanted. But usually with them, I'll try to hook that front leg. Gives me a little more grip so they don't slip out. And that way I can move her around wherever I need to fairly securely. I can't stress enough, it's mainly a matter of get a grip, make sure you're comfortable with it, and be prepared to have to switch things up. Comes in handy if you need to check, in case they have a sore or something. See, she's getting mad too, blowing up like a balloon. I don't want to stress her out too much, so pull one of the big male ornates out and see how he's going to act. Okay, here we've got our male ornate, Leonidas. He's always thinking about food. Usually spins around like most of the bigger ones. But once he knows I'm trying to pick him up, he's usually pretty good. Because he's been through a lot. I don't know if you can see, if I can get him to hold still. Still. Come on. You can see right here, he's had this lower jawbone split in half and tore the skin all the way down to there because a female got a hold of his jaw and ripped it apart. He has a couple scars right here from that same incident with a lot of water changes throughout quite a few days and a good amount of food that he tried to eat on his own. He managed to eat some of it on his own, and some of it I helped him with. Never had to force feed him, just had to assist him getting it in his mouth. And healed up and refused altogether. He still calls, though he does have a little whistle to it. I think there's a little gap still, but hopefully he'll still be able to breed once that female that we had out a little while ago gets big enough to breed. Again, it's mainly getting them calmed down and feeling secure with your grip and being prepared to change it accordingly or take the bite if you have to restrain them, If you have to put your hand in front because they're going to end up on the floor, that's what you're going to want to do. I've been lucky. I've never had anything bigger than a quarter bite me yet so far. Sure, it's going to happen one of these days. Don't want it to, but it comes down to it. Between getting bit or my frog hitting the floor and getting hurt, I'd rather take the bite and deal with it. He's pretty mellow once he's in my hands. Okay, let's see. guess we'll move on to the next, and I'll go figure out who I'm going to pull out next. Okay, here's Alice, our wild-caught cornuta. She's not happy right now. She's not liking this camera stuff. You can see she's all hunched down. She's actually probably the easiest to handle for me. She doesn't struggle much. She doesn't try to bite. She's never tried to bite. For the most part, I go like that, she blows up a little bit, and I can pick her right up, and she just chills. Now, they do have longer legs and a much stronger kick, and they'll go a whole lot further if they do slip out of your hands. But they also have bigger front arms and feet, so like I said, keeping that one leg stuck on between your fingers really helps. Let's see if I can get her to open her mouth. The nice thing with cornutas when you're having to feed them, that I've noticed at least with her and some of the babies, is a little rub under the jaw right here with the food on the tongs, a little tap, and that will usually entice them to strike. And once they have a hold of it, I just let them sit. They either spit it out and I try again, or they eat it. She on occasion gets finicky and wants to spit everything out for a while, and other times she'll eat 10 night crawlers in a row. Just, it's a long process because she takes her sweet time, but she's not been too bad. Look at her. See if I can spin her around. I just love their patterns. They're my favorite. And their horns. That's our wild-caught cornuta. So now we'll get to the big girls. Okay, here we've got Olive, breeder female, green. She's wanting to eat right now. She's already stuck her tongue to the wall of the tub. The females, the adult females, that's how I pick them up. Come up. Slide up over their back legs and get them behind the front arms, and then get a hold of them. The only way to be able to restrain them and try to keep their feet from getting a grip so they can't pry their way out. Figure I'll show you all this one and the 3 other breeder females that I've got. I'm sure one of them is really going to take a shot at me, but maybe not. Maybe I'll get lucky. See if I can get her to calm down. So you can see her color. See, once you got a hold of them and keep that back foot from getting the grip, you're usually good. And we'll pull the next out. Okay, this is Sorbet, another breeder female. She's the smallest of the breeder females that I've got breeding right now. You can see, just slide your fingers up, get under the front arms. As long as those back feet can't get a hold of you, and they're not struggling too much, you can transfer them like that, or get that front arm and keep the back foot off. She's pretty mellow right now. Females do make noise. I'm sure you've noticed a few of them making a little bit of noise. For the most part, that's about all they do. That little, just a little bit. Now she's not going to do it. Make some noise. I think next we'll bring out formerly pig bitch, Rhubarb. She usually tries to bite me a few times, and she usually jumps for me though. So hope this helps. Hope you at least get a few ideas. I wish I had a couple on cocoa right now that I could show you how to pull them up out of the cocoa, but it's still breeding season here, so none of them are on cocoa right now. But I'm sure we'll have some. Lots of skin coming off of her. We'll probably do a video later on in the year and have them on cocoa and show you how to pull them up. Okay, on to that. Okay, here we've got Rhubarb. She was in the last video, the feeding video, where jumping, trying to get me instead of the worm. Sometimes she's good, other times she's not, and she gets me every time. Scares me because I don't want to get bit by her. But even her, for the most part, once I have her for the most part on the run, I can just come in straight over her sides. Get a grip on her. And with her, sometimes I have to be creative because she's real good at getting the foot up. She's made quite a few babies for us this year. I'm not sure if she's the biggest, but she's pretty close. Her mama might be a little bigger than her, but then again her mama is a whole lot older than her. And she's only about coming up on 2 years right now. And her mama is probably 10. But it's just a matter of gentle and keeping those back legs and front legs from getting a grip. And then once you got them, you can almost do anything you want with them because they pretty much just relax. She's actually the most relaxed she's ever been. And again, I stress, you only handle them when you need to, because a little bit too much and they get stressed out. I haven't had much problem with them stressing on anything, but you know, other than moving them out of their cage into a tub to soak while I clean their cage, or into a tub where I feed them, for the most part that's all the handling they get. Moving them between cages and rain chambers, and hope this helps, and we'll get her mama out, and that will be the last one of the day. Okay, here's Jello, queen of the frogs. We've had her for about 3.5 years, 4 years. person we got her from had her for about 4 or 5 years, and she was an adult when she got her, so I'm figuring she's at least 9 or 10, still producing. She's a chunk, as you can see. She usually mellows down pretty quickly. Usually. And she'll make a liar out of me now because she's on camera and she can. She's the one that started our breeding program. First female we got. Produced several thousand babies over the last few years. And has a nice emerald green spots, almost metallic. And I'm figuring she'll probably be ready to breed again in another couple weeks. And then she'll probably get the rest of the year off to recuperate for next year. Get all ready. Probably. But they usually tell me if they want to breed again, because next thing I know they'll be blown up full of eggs and ready for a male. So, well, I hope that helps some of you out there. You know, best thing you can do is only handle them when you need to, and just be patient, gentle but firm. Try to support their body but keep their feet from pushing on you. Have a good night.